I'd like to show you Alford Annex. So this building is located right across the street from our main campus, and this is where we do most of our 3D work. So a lot of things going on here, power tools, ceramic wheels spinning. It hums with life, like literally and figuratively. We're right here in the entrance, and you see we have some student work on display. Those revolve. I'm going to show you the Printmaking Studio. So it is the one kind of 2D space in this building. And then I'm going to pass you off to another faculty, and she'll walk you through the 3D design and ceramics lab. So let's go. So here we are in the Printmaking Studio. It is unoccupied at the moment, but this room gets full of students working on projects, which we begin the semester with relief printing, and then we move into Intaglio. So you can see that we're set up with various presses. There's lithostones over here, kind of beside me. We've got a booth for different solvents. Even though many of our the more dangerous solvents that have been a part of printmaking for centuries have been replaced, thankfully. So we don't have nearly the use of the chemical booth, spray booth, as we once did. But it's a fun space. This class, actually there's 3 different levels of our printmaking studio. So we do have some underclassmen in here, and then a lot of upperclassmen as well, both from studio art as well as visual communication design. Fun class. I'm going to actually walk out here, and we're going to hand you off to Kat Mayu, who is the faculty member teaching 3D design and sculpture and many of our upper level 3D classes.
Hi, my name is Kat Mayu, and I'm the ceramics and sculpture professor here at Cedarville. And currently we are in the ceramics and sculpture studio. So I'm going to show you around a little bit. We're starting on the side of ceramics, and typically ceramics classes have beginners, intermediate, and advanced students that are all stacked together. So I'm going to walk you kind of past the beginning student work, and then we'll make our way to some of the carts that have student work on them, and then we'll also take a look at the wheels. So currently students are working on some hand building projects, which include both functional work as well as more sculptural work. These work tables are primarily where students sit and work, and you'll also notice that there's a bunch of wheels set up, which is where students are able to learn how to throw bowls, cups, cylinders, all sorts of things using those wheels. This is where we typically store all of the work that is greenware, so things that haven't been bisqued yet, as well as things that have been bisqued and then are ready to be glazed. And eventually they will go out into the kiln room, which is where I'll take you next. Here we are in the kiln room. So what you see here is the clay mixer. So we mix all of the clay here on site, and you'll also see all of the dry materials for the glazes. So both clay mixing and mixing the glazes happens out here. Further in the back is where our 2 kilns are. So we have a large gas kiln that can fit a lot of work in it, and we also have a small electric kiln that can do smaller work and isn't as intensive to fire. When these kilns are on, things really start to heat up. This kiln is coming down from a firing, so I can actually feel kind of the warmth of it. And the gas kiln especially can get pretty hot, obviously, in order to fire the pieces. So it can get pretty toasty back in here. I'm going to go ahead and walk you into our sculpture studio, so then you'll get to see what some of the beginning students are working on over there, as well as the different tools that we have and the wood shop, which is a really state-of-the-art facility. This is the sculpture side of the studio. So we have students here who are hard at work on their second project of this semester, which is learning how to work with wood and paper to create some kind of lamp sculptural fixture. This way we have our welding equipment. So intermediate students this semester have been learning how to weld. We pull out these red screens and students can work back here safely and efficiently. And you can see that there's a student work here that's actually a kinetic sculpture that spins around, as well as behind me, which is tucked into a cubby right now, but it's been really fun to teach students how to weld and see the kind of work that they do. I'm going to go ahead and walk you back into the sanding room, which is primarily for wood, but also students can grind some kinds of metal back here. This is our sanding room, so when the exhaust is on, it gets pretty noisy in here. So students usually would use ear protection while they're working in here. And it also is kind of the place where you can fine-tune your woodworking. So once you have things cut, put together, this is kind of where the fine finish happens when you get in there with your sanders. We'll go ahead and walk over to the larger wood shop, which has our larger machines. In here, we have our shop tech, Mike Mikesell, who looks like he's putting the guard back on the table saw because students were using that this morning. But this is really a state-of-the-art facility. You can see if you look up that we have a really amazingly designed exhaust system that kind of pulls from the machines and makes sure that things in here don't get too dusty. So we have chop saw, wood planers, wood joiners, nice table saw, band saws, as well as some doweling rod machines that can help students get round forms. We also have all kinds of wood for students to work with. We have both hardwood and softwood, lumber that's dimensional, and then also lumber that students have to first plane down in order to use to get those straight edges. So I'll walk you back out into the main sculpture studio, and we'll maybe see if we can get some students to tell us about what they're working on. This cabinet up here is where a lot of our supplies live, so students have access to this at any time, whereas in the wood shop, they only have access to that space when Mike or I am here, which is usually between 8 and 5. So let's go ahead and talk to Rose, who's an industrial design student, and see what she's working on. Hi, Rose. What are you working on today?
I am working on making a wooden chandelier for my 3D design class. It's going to be basically 5 panels that are going to cut out like this, put together in a chandelier.
Beautiful. That sounds beautiful. Thanks. So that is essentially our sculpture and ceramic spaces. A lot of things happen here, and I'm biased towards things that are three-dimensional, but I think this is the most exciting and energetic studio space that we have here at Cedarville.